Japan is facing a demographic crisis. This is not just a headline or a distant worry, it's a reality that is already shaping the daily lives of millions of people across the country. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to the quiet corners of rural towns, the effects of this crisis are becoming more and more visible with each passing year. The country's population is shrinking at an alarming rate. Once known for its vibrant cities and crowded public spaces, Japan is now witnessing a steady decline in the number of people who call it home. Streets that were once filled with the laughter of children and the hustle of commuters are growing quieter, and entire neighborhoods are beginning to feel the impact of this demographic shift. In October 2024, the population stood at 120.3 million. This number may still sound large, but it masks a troubling trend that has been building for decades. Japan's population peaked in 2008, and since then, it has been on a downward trajectory, with no signs of reversing. This represents a record yearly drop of 898,000 people. To put that into perspective, that's like losing the entire population of a mid-sized city in just 1 year. The scale of this decline is unprecedented in Japan's modern history, and it is raising urgent questions about the country's future. This decline is a serious concern for Japan's future. It affects not only the economy, but also the social fabric of the nation. With fewer people to support the elderly, run businesses, and contribute to society, the challenges are mounting on multiple fronts. The reasons for this decline are, well, kind of complex. It's not just one thing, but a combination of social, economic, and cultural factors that have come together over time. Changing attitudes toward marriage and family, the high cost of raising children, and demanding work schedules all play a role. However, two factors stand out: a low birth rate and an aging population. Japan has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, with fewer and fewer children being born each year. At the same time, people are living longer than ever before, leading to a rapidly growing elderly population. These trends have been ongoing for decades. In the 1970s and 80s, Japan experienced a baby boom, but since then, birth rates have steadily declined. Meanwhile, advances in healthcare and living standards have allowed people to live well into their 80s and 90s, further shifting the balance between young and old. Now, they are starting to have a profound impact on Japanese society. Schools are closing due to a lack of students, local businesses are struggling to find workers, and entire communities are at risk of disappearing as young people move to the cities or choose not to have children at all. The shrinking population presents a number of challenges for Japan. These include a shrinking workforce, which makes it harder for companies to fill jobs and for the economy to grow. As the number of working-age people declines, the burden on those who remain increases, leading to longer hours and more stress. There is also a strain on social services. With more elderly people needing care and fewer young people to provide it, the healthcare system is under increasing pressure. Hospitals and care facilities are struggling to keep up, and families are often left to shoulder the responsibility themselves. And then there's the decline in economic growth. As the population shrinks, so does the consumer base, making it harder for businesses to thrive. This can lead to a downward spiral, where fewer jobs and opportunities make it even less attractive for young people to start families. The government is aware of these challenges. Policymakers have been sounding the alarm for years, warning that urgent action is needed to address the demographic crisis before it becomes irreversible. It has implemented a number of policies to address them. These include financial incentives for families to have more children, improved childcare services, and efforts to make workplaces more family-friendly. There are also programs to encourage older people to stay in the workforce longer and to attract skilled workers from overseas. However, it remains to be seen whether these policies will be enough to reverse the trend. Changing deep-rooted social norms and economic realities is no easy task, and many Japanese citizens remain skeptical about whether the government can truly turn things around. The demographic crisis is a major challenge for Japan. It threatens not only the country's economic future, but also its cultural traditions and way of life. If current trends continue, Japan could face a future where entire regions are depopulated and the social safety net is stretched to the breaking point. It is one that will require a concerted effort from the government, businesses, and citizens alike to overcome. Only by working together, embracing innovation, and reimagining what it means to live and work in Japan, can the country hope to build a sustainable and vibrant future for generations to come. Japan's birth rate has been steadily declining for decades, and today, the country finds itself at a critical crossroads. Once known for its bustling cities and vibrant communities filled with children, Japan is now facing a demographic crisis that threatens the very fabric of its society. The streets and parks that were once alive with the laughter of children are noticeably quieter, and the effects of this shift are being felt in every corner of the nation. In 2024, the average number of children born per woman in Japan was just 1.3. This figure is not only a record low for the country, but it also places Japan among the nations with the lowest fertility rates in the world. For many families, having more than one child has become increasingly rare, and single-child households are now the norm, rather than the exception. This is significantly lower than the replacement rate of 2.1 children per woman, which is the level needed to maintain a stable population. Without enough children being born, Japan's population is shrinking year after year, and the age structure of the country is rapidly shifting towards an older demographic. There are a number of complex and interconnected reasons for Japan's persistently low birth rate. Economic pressures weigh heavily on young couples, making the decision to start or expand a family a daunting one. These include the high cost of raising children, from education and healthcare to everyday expenses like food and housing. Many parents worry about whether they can provide a good life for their children, and the financial burden often discourages them from having more. The difficulty of balancing work and family life is another major factor. Long working hours and demanding jobs leave little time or energy for parenting, and many women feel forced to choose between their careers and starting a family. This work culture, combined with limited support for working parents, makes it challenging for couples to have more children. Social norms around marriage and family have also changed dramatically in recent years. More young people are prioritizing their education, careers, and personal freedom, and as a result, they are delaying marriage and childbirth. Some are choosing not to marry or have children at all, reflecting a broader shift in attitudes towards traditional family structures. Young people are also delaying marriage and childbirth, with the average age of first-time mothers and fathers rising steadily. Many cite uncertainty about the future, job insecurity, and the desire for personal fulfillment as reasons for postponing these major life decisions. The consequences of Japan's declining birth rate are far-reaching and deeply concerning. Schools are closing due to a lack of students, and entire communities are aging as young people move away or simply aren't being born. It means there are fewer young people to support the growing elderly population. As the number of retirees increases, the burden on the working-age population becomes heavier, straining social welfare systems and healthcare services. It also leads to a shrinking workforce, making it harder for businesses to find employees and for the economy to grow. With fewer people entering the labor market, productivity and innovation may suffer, and the country's global competitiveness could decline. Consumer spending is also on the decline as there are simply fewer people to buy goods and services. This has a ripple effect on local businesses, real estate, and the overall vitality of communities, especially in rural areas where depopulation is most severe. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, the Japanese government has implemented a number of policies to try to boost the birth rate and support families. These efforts reflect a growing awareness that the future of the nation depends on reversing this demographic decline. These include providing financial assistance to families with children, such as monthly allowances, tax breaks, and subsidies for education and healthcare. The government hopes that easing the financial burden will encourage more couples to have children. Expanding access to affordable, high-quality childcare is another key strategy. By making it easier for parents, especially mothers, to return to work after having children, the government aims to create a more family-friendly society where raising children is seen as both possible and rewarding. The shrinking population is already having a significant impact on the Japanese workforce. Across the country, offices and factories are beginning to look noticeably emptier, with many desks left vacant as older employees retire, and fewer young people step in to take their place. This demographic shift is not just a future concern, it's a reality that businesses are grappling with right now. There are simply not enough young people to fill the jobs being vacated by retirees. As the number of working-age individuals declines, companies are finding it increasingly difficult to recruit new talent, especially for roles that require specialized skills or physical labor. This shortage is particularly acute in rural areas where the population decline is even more pronounced. This is leading to labor shortages in a number of industries. Sectors such as manufacturing, retail, healthcare, and hospitality are all feeling the strain. Restaurants and shops often operate with fewer staff, and some factories have had to reduce their output or even shut down certain production lines due to a lack of workers. Businesses are struggling to cope with the labor shortage. Many owners and managers are under increasing pressure to maintain productivity and meet customer demands, all while dealing with a shrinking pool of available employees. This has led to longer working hours for existing staff and increased stress in the workplace. Some are responding by automating tasks or outsourcing work overseas. Automation, such as robots on assembly lines and self-checkout systems in supermarkets, is becoming more common as companies look for ways to maintain efficiency with fewer workers. Others are turning to international labor markets, hiring remote workers or outsourcing certain business functions to countries with larger, younger populations. Others are offering higher wages and signing bonuses to attract new employees. Companies are also investing more in recruitment campaigns, using digital ads and job fairs to reach potential workers. In some cases, they are even relaxing traditional hiring requirements to widen the pool of applicants. Many businesses are also improving benefits to make their workplaces more appealing. This includes offering better health insurance, flexible work hours, and on-site childcare services. These perks are designed to attract not only young workers but also women and older individuals who may have previously been excluded from the workforce. However, these measures are often not enough. Despite their efforts, many companies still struggle to fill open positions, and some small businesses have been forced to close their doors permanently. The competition for talent is fierce, and the overall labor pool continues to shrink. The shrinking workforce is also having a negative impact on the Japanese economy as a whole. With fewer people working, consumer spending drops and businesses see lower sales. This slowdown affects everything from local shops to large corporations, creating a ripple effect throughout the economy. With fewer people working and paying taxes, the government has less revenue to fund social programs and infrastructure. This puts additional strain on public finances, especially as the aging population requires more healthcare and pension support. Policymakers are faced with tough decisions about how to allocate limited resources. This can lead to a decline in economic growth. If the trend continues, Japan may face long-term challenges such as reduced innovation, lower productivity, and a diminished global economic presence. Addressing these issues will require creative solutions and a willingness to adapt to a rapidly changing demographic landscape. Japan has, one of the oldest populations in the world. In 2024, more than 29% of the population was aged 65 or older. This is significantly higher than the global average of 10%. The aging population is putting a strain on Japan's social security and healthcare systems. With more people receiving pensions and healthcare benefits, and fewer people working and paying taxes, the government is facing a growing fiscal burden. The aging population is also leading to a shortage of healthcare workers. This is putting a strain on the healthcare system and making it more difficult for older people to get the care they need. The Japanese government has been, reluctant to address the labor shortage through immigration. However, in recent years, there has been a growing recognition that Japan needs to attract more foreign workers. The government has introduced a number of visa programs to make it easier for skilled foreign workers to come to Japan. However, these programs are often complex and difficult to navigate. While foreign workers can help to alleviate the labor shortage in the short term, they are not a long-term solution. Many foreign workers come to Japan on temporary visas. They often face challenges integrating into Japanese society. Japan has a long history of being a relatively homogeneous society. The government has traditionally been reluctant to embrace large-scale immigration. There are a number of reasons for Japan's strict immigration policy. Some people believe that immigration would threaten Japan's cultural identity. Others are concerned about the economic impact of immigration. However, there is a growing recognition that Japan needs to rethink its stance on immigration. The shrinking population and labor shortage are forcing the country to confront the need for more foreign workers. The demographic challenges facing Japan are honestly significant. However, it is important to remember that Japan is a resilient nation. It has overcome challenges in the past. The government is aware of the challenges posed by the shrinking population. It is taking steps to address them. However, more needs to be done. Addressing the low birth rate, reforming the immigration system, and investing in automation and robotics are all potential solutions.